Hello, and thank you for visiting the Spiritual Birth Astrology YouTube channel. On this page, I am exploring and explaining what is often referred to as Occam's razor. In other words, keep things as simple and as direct as possible. I was often amazed in the early days of studying astrology that people came up with all manner of different things, trying to explain what they saw in their own chart or in other people's charts. The most obvious and simplest explanation is that the charts that astrologers and private individuals are using are not valid for their actual life experience. And one of the most telling things is this little statement here. As I understand the work of Reinhold Eberstein, he basically threw out the ascendant, the midheaven, and most house systems because he could not find consistent results with those points. Well, that's quite a mouthful when you think about it. And he's not the only one to make a similar statement. Some of the other things that I noticed many people get involved with is transits. Oh, such and such a planet is transiting my something or other in my chart. Well, transits are not personal. You know, the weather gods did not conspire to bring about a rainstorm just to get you wet. You just happened to be out in an area where there was a rainstorm and you got wet. But it wasn't the universe singling you out of the crowd just to get you wet. Transits are the same way. Transits show the unfolding development of events on planet Earth in our solar system. They're not personal, and they do not happen to you. You just happen to be in the area when they... Now, in order to justify the charts and what's going on in them, some time ago, when ephemeris became available, people started exploring the use of asteroids. Well, the four most commonly used asteroids, actually there's 5 these days, just give 5 more points in the chart that you can look to for answers. But it's the same thing. If you can't find the answers in the basic standard chart, something's wrong with the basic standard chart. And adding asteroids, and let's face it, folks, it's not just the big ones that they've made the ephemeris for. There's thousands of chunks of rocks out there floating around. Do they all have an effect? How would you put them all into your chart? There wouldn't be room for anything else. And I often remember this one guy told me that If all that stuff out there controlled my life, then a helicopter flying overhead would have to do something as well. And I replied, made you look up, didn't it? So, yeah. I'm not sure how you'd put a helicopter in a chart. But come back to the same basic tenet. Why are you adding things to a natal chart, looking for answers that you can't find with a physical birth time chart? Now here's another one. Midpoints from Reinhold Ebertin. And as I explained earlier, he threw out the ascendant, the midheaven, and most house systems because he could not find consistent results with those points. He concentrated his efforts on the midpoints and their connection to the position of the planets in a native's charts. Well, the difference between a physical birth time chart and a spiritual birth time chart is not that great in time, so there's not a lot of difference in the motion of the planets, except maybe the moon might move a couple degrees. But same old thing. He, like many others, added all of these midpoints looking for answers to questions that couldn't be answered with a standard physical birth time chart. Then there was, I don't know exactly when this was developed, but solar arc directions. Another thing. Well, the sun and the moon and Venus, and to an extent Mars, and also Mercury, move pretty quickly through the chart on a daily basis. So why not just add the motion of the sun to all the other planets and see what happens? Well, once again, that's a real hit or miss situation in my experience. And if you're using a physical birth time chart, you're not going to have much success with solar arc directions. Now we start to really drop off the deep end. Hypothetical planets and or trans-Neptunian planets. So often basic things didn't work, and adding asteroids and midpoints did not work. What's left? Of course, make up your own stuff. Hence we have trans-Neptunian planets, and or just plain hypothetical planets from the school of Uranian astrology. Pay particular note to this statement by Alfred Witt, who came up with this concept. And he said that he realized that astrology did not have enough planets to explain all of life. So he proposed that there are 4 hypothetical trans-Neptunian planets, and that was later expanded to 8. Now, you've got all of the planets, asteroids, midpoints, trans-Neptunian planets, midpoints, solar arc directions. As I state here, great, depending on your preference. We now have 4 or 8 more things to get in the mixing pot. Terrific. The original 10 planets plus the ascendant and midheaven. Add 5 asteroids. Further add 8 trans-Neptunian planets. We now have 25 points with which to contend. But wait, there's more. I did not forget the hundreds of midpoints generated by the plethora of information. If you tried, you could not fit that information in a standard chart wheel. That would fit on a single piece of paper. All these points would fill almost every available one of the 360 degrees that make a standard chart wheel. Now, surely you can find the answers you seek. I'm not even going to go there. That's absurd. Got this little statement, and if Ebertein's midpoints are not enough, let's throw in a bunch of made-up planets. Alfred Witt's original 4 trans-Neptunian planets later increased to 8. So there you have it, folks. Astrologers for many, many years have come up with all manner of methods trying to find answers to the questions of why their charts don't work, instead of looking at the simple possibility that maybe, just maybe, the charts they're using are incorrect. Physical birth time charts do not work, plain and simple.